All right. So I told myself I wasn't going to touch this one. I really did. The Akash situation has been everywhere, and it seems as though everyone and their mother has already said something about it. But then this video from Poetic Flacco with my timeline, and it's not just the commentary that got me, it's what Akash's wife did next. She went back online, back on the same TikTok, and this time she's basically confirming what a lot of people have already suspected that Akash and Andrew Schultz are done. Dunsies, no longer friends, and the way she confirmed it just told me everything I needed to know about how this situation really went down. So let's get into it.
Has allowed his wife to completely destroy and ruin his life within a span of 6 months. 6 months ago, Akaash
Right.
had thriving friendships. Akaash had a thriving podcast with millions of subscribers.
Right.
Akaash had a thriving comedy career, and Akash's name was good in these streets. He had a good face card. He had a good public reputation.
Right.
Within 6 months, Akaash no longer have thriving friendships. Akaash has left his podcast with millions of subscribers.
Right. That's
Akash's
crazy.
name is dirt in these streets. I don't even gotta say it. Y'all know it. The same wife who ruined his life and public reputation is now online, back to the same TikTok that she used to ruin his life and public reputation,
Right.
is now back online on that same TikTok bragging about how Akaash is no longer friends with the same people who criticize her. So Akaash has burned all his relationships, has left his podcast,
Right,
and is no
right.
longer friends with a lot of people he was friends with in the industry because those people had platforms of their own and they spoke on his wife embarrassing
Right.
him.
Stars that
Now, 6 months, right? Just wrap your head around that. 6 months, not 6 years. Not a slow, gradual decline. All it took was 6 months. And I want to put a number behind how rare it is to build what Akash had and how devastating it is to lose it. There's a study by the podcast study found that 8 in 10 podcast listeners say the host is the main reason they tune in. And more than half said they would stop listening entirely if the host left. More than half gone, just like that. And Akash wasn't just a co host, he was a co founder. He helped build that audience from the ground up over a 15-year span. Now, that's not replaceable. That's not something you could just swap out and expect the numbers to hold. And then Flacco over here points out that his same wife, who was at the center of all of this, is now back on the very same TikTok, not being quiet, not even reflecting, but bragging that Akash cut off the people who criticized them. That's not someone who feels remorse at this point. That's someone who got exactly what they wanted and is letting people know. But let's continue.
Akash's wife made you want to not be married? What happened, bro? You want to be?
Yo, when you locking it down, yo? When you locking it down?
What happened?
Man, I'm never gonna tell the world. I ain't going through that. That's crazy.
What happened?
I didn't realize we had Akash's picture up.
Whoa.
I don't like
Right.
what they've been doing to Akash the past few weeks, man.
Yo, free Akash,
I ain't
man.
seen it.
Free
Yeah,
Akash.
Akash.
Free
this man.
I haven't
Akash.
seen the new episode of Flagrant, man. Did it go well?
You gotta watch it, man. We had him and Jocelyn. Well, am I ruining it? Everybody already knows
right,
by now.
right,
Yeah,
right.
just watch it. Just watch.
Did you guys see the episode? I didn't watch it. I just saw some clips of it. So let me know.
I just don't like it because it's such a sensitive subject. That's somebody. That's his wife.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's- Yeah.
They public.
Well, can I say what I want to say?
Yeah,
about
of
the situation?
course. This is what
All
Brilliant
I
Idiots
want to
is
say
about.
is simply this.
Keep your wife off the internet.
Akaash never came back to Flagrant after this episode.
Now, this clip right here is where the whole situation snowballed publicly. And Charlemagne's advice, as simple as it sounds, is actually backed up by data. A study published in Computers and Human Behavior found that a 20% annual increase in Facebook enrollment was associated with anywhere between 2 to 4% increase in divorce rates. And that may not seem like a lot, right? But when you account for how many people are actually married, you're looking at what, millions of people or hundreds of thousands of people. And people who don't use social media are actually about 11-12% happier in their marriages than regular users. And that's not about using social media casually. That's about what happens when social media becomes the space where your private life, your relationship, your conflicts, your personal business gets aired out for public consumption, because that's exactly what happened here. His wife didn't just use the internet, she used it as a confessional. And Charlemagne, he saw the damage coming before, right? And what kills me is that Akash actually showed up the next day and did a full reunion episode with the guys. And then after that episode aired, he never came back again, which tells you whose voice really won out in his ear by the end of the time he walked out that door. So let's continue.
So, which I don't know why. Because they're talking about how he came to Flagrant the day before. They did this whole grand episode with Jasleen, Akash, and the guys, and they
Right.
talked about the entire situation. And then he never came back.
Right.
And the wife is hitting towards is things like this is why he didn't come back, which I don't understand because they didn't say nothing but the truth. It's the truth, yo.
Right.
The
yeah.
wife was wilding out, man. The wife was on podcast talking about she wants to have an orgy with other men other than her wife.
That's
The wife
wild.
was talking about popping her pee at these college frat parties, then talking about, I thought popping pee just meant dancing. The wife
Yeah.
talking about having one
Come on, come on, come on, man.
night stands where dudes is leaving her butt sore.
Right.
The wife is talking about, how she
Crazy.
was running through white boys at these frat parties.
Crazy.
The wife said a lot of things that when we see you who are a rich, powerful,
Egregious,
successful man, and we look at your wife and how your wife seemingly has no respect for you whatsoever, we look at you and that's an indictment on your character.
Right. Now, the response from their side was that everything was taken out of context. That is that it was all a misunderstanding. But here's what research on oversharing actually tells us. And I know I do a lot of studies and stuff like that. If you guys want me to leave links to these studies, you can just let me know in the comments. Right now, a study out of Texas Tech University found that the more someone overshares personal or intimate information on social media, the more it damages their own reputation and the relationships connected to them, regardless of the original intent. Now, regardless of the original intent, that's the key phrase. It doesn't matter if she meant it the way it came across. The damage to Akash's reputation was real either way. Right? The audience heard what they heard. The fallout was what it was. And what made it worse is that she went back to doing it after seeing the fallout. One time might be a mistake. Going back erases that defense completely. But let's continue.
And how you put it down. And how you carry yourself. Because if your own wife don't respect you, the audience won't respect you. And that's what we
Exactly.
saw. But
Exactly.
Charlamagne the guy was giving him some pretty sane advice. Your
He
wife
was.
shouldn't have a podcast, bro. Your wife shouldn't have a platform where she's
I wouldn't say she shouldn't have a podcast, but maybe she could discuss different things on that podcast. Don't embarrass your husband like that. Right? You're not a comedian. He's a comedian. He knows how to craft jokes. So when he does it, it's a bit different. And if she was the comedian and he was a stay-at-home husband, then the roles would be reversed.
openly speaking about your life for hours. Your wife shouldn't be on that podcast saying your balls stink. But I
She really
think
shouldn't.
that wife of his was convincing Akaash that his homies, who was just trying to have his back,
Right.
that wife convinced him, oh, they were his enemies, they were his ops. And it's not just Andrew Schultz and Charlamagne the God that
Right.
Akaash don't rock with. Akaash don't rock with all his industry friends now.
Why does your wife have a microphone in her face? Do not allow your wife to start a podcast, bro.
Yes.
Okay, there
Right,
can
right.
be one entertainer in this family, and it shall be me. I'm the comedian. I'm out here on this road, and I'm out here getting the money. Let me use
Exactly,
some of
like
this
I
money to
said.
help you do some other things, yo. Because you don't need a microphone in your face because you going to around and ruin us. All right? Not just you, us.
But go watch the episode.
Yeah, absolutely.
We had a great talk with Akaash and Jasleen, and it was awesome, and it was very funny.
Because I don't want to have to explain, because that's my wife. I'm going to always have my wife's back.
Yes,
Right.
You
as
know
you
what I'm
should.
saying? But guess what?
And some
Now, standing by your wife, that's not the problem. That's expected, right? Nobody's out here saying that Akash should have thrown her under the bus. But here's where I want to bring in some context that most people may not even talk about. There's a well-documented pattern in relationships like in psychology called coercive control. And one of its earliest and most consistent warning signs is isolation from friends and family. All right. Now that comes from the George Mason University's College of Public Health. The first and most visible sign of a controlling relationship is isolation from family and friends. Now, I'm not diagnosing Akash's marriage, right? I'm not a specialist by any stretch of the imagination. I just like to read research and stuff like that, right? So that's not my place. But I'm just pointing out that what we watched unfold, a man cutting off a 15-year friendships, leaving a platform he built, going dark on everyone who cared about him, right? That pattern has a name, and it happens way more often than people would want to admit. So Charlemagne's advice wasn't an attack; it was a lifeline, and from the looks of it, it didn't land. So, but let's continue.
Much of this was bullshit, and then there are things
Tell
that
me
she
what was
said.
bullshit.
She was a virgin. She was never a whore.
So that video of her talking about sleeping with a bunch of men was not real?
She never said she slept with it. She said I was popping my frat parties, and she's a sheltered Indian girl who thought that meant dancing. And then the rest of us were like, what
Come
do you
on,
really mean by that? So we
come
had that
on,
conversation. But like all like her being
come on. Popping P means dancing. Like, come on. No one is that sheltered, all right?
a whore completely out of context. Like,
Well, didn't she talk about?
Right.
say it. We discussed
Oh,
everything on the
so didn't
pod.
she talk about sucking cocks?
No.
She never said that. There was
No.
never a video about that.
She said that Akash's balls smell like a homeless person.
Jesus Christ.
Not
Jesus
Steph Curry with the
Christ.
shot boy.
They call her chicken curry.
God damn. Why would she say that?
That's a good point. So we had those conversations.
What the?
That
Go
is a
watch
good
the
point.
episode.
My brothers.
Clears up a lot of.
My brothers.
And also, she just acknowledges, like, yo, that was stupid. Like, I shouldn't
Right.
be there. I can see why the audience thought it was this thing. Like, there was a lot of
Well, delete
good
it.
stuff.
Delete the.
But yet, still, she went back to TikTok. So even though she acknowledged, she still went back to do the same thing. So I don't know if she really learned her lesson.
Podcast.
delete ours.
No more influencing. No, I'm talking about her.
Right?
Oh, we're working on it.
No influencing. I don't want no. You don't let your wife be influencers. Don't
Right.
let your wife be podcasters, man.
Well, it's not about letting.
No.
Let.
No.
Let.
No.
Let.
No.
Let.
No. There's certain things we can't do
Yeah.
Right, that's
because
true.
we know that it's detrimental to our situation.
That's
I
true.
was watching this truly trying to find something that I could spot that Akash will be upset at.
Right.
Bro, I couldn't find it, bro. I couldn't find it, homie. Like I tried, I
harmless.
couldn't find it.
It's basically harmless, like they crack a few jokes. Like that's what men do. Men, we laugh at each other's pain, right? No copyright. And I know that was a part of Kevin Hart's one of his specials. But we laugh at each other's pain. Like I have a friend of mine, a very very close friend of mine, one of my oldest friends, one of my closest friends, right? And he went through some issues with a woman a few years ago. And when he told me the story, as serious as it was, I laughed my head off in his face. And I'm not going to repeat anything, right? Because that's between me and him. I'm going to take that to the grave. I've never even brought it back up with him. But if he decides to bring it back up with me or with anyone else, and I'm there, he knows exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to laugh my head off once again. But, that's just me.
At all. I just couldn't find anything. Because, he's spitting. He's telling the truth. Now,
Right.
I don't know if the problem here is, Akash is like, hey, bruh, you got my number. You could have called me and told me that. But I feel like those are unfair expectations.
Could
Akash
be.
at the time had the biggest story on the internet, the biggest story on the planet.
Right.
And I feel like if your homie is a podcaster, if your homie does media, if your homie gives opinions for a living,
Right.
and you are closely linked to your homie, it's unfair to tell your homie, hey man, don't speak on this situation, bro.
Right.
Huh? What you mean don't speak
Right.
on it? The world is speaking on it. I have an obligation to my audience to speak on it. I don't have to call you every time you're in the media for something wild and it's the biggest story on earth. I got to contact you now
True.
beforehand to speak on it, man.
But I would say this, if it is your friend, a close friend of yours, you probably would want to reach out, in certain cases. So,
Man, hell nah. But it wasn't just Andrew Schultz and Charlamagne the God. It was
Right.
everybody else. Academics, everybody. Right? That Akash did like a mass sweep unfollow of all of his friends.
right.
He burned every relationship he had in the industry because of this chick.
A flagrant 2 junkie. I love my
Right.
flagrant 2.
All right. And this is where it stopped being a domestic situation and became a public declaration. What's wild is that this isn't even unusual behavior when you look at the data on men and marriage. There was a study published in PMC on newlyweds, and they found that husbands specifically experienced a significant decline in the proportion of their own friends in their social network after getting married, while their wives didn't see the same drop. So men are already more vulnerable to losing their social networks in relationships. The survey Center on American Life found that 15% of men today have zero close friends, a five-fold increase since 1990, right? And 85% of married men say that their spouse is the first person they turn to when they have a personal problem. Meaning most married men have essentially put all of their emotional eggs into one basket. Now, just think about that for a second. So, when that one basket starts pushing you away from everyone else, you don't have a safety net. You don't have anyone left to reality check what's happening. And that's exactly what makes this situation so dangerous for Akash. But let's continue.
Told y'all, I was very saddened. It was like my cat passed away. I don't have a cat, by the way. My man Akaash Singh,
Right,
he's no longer with the show, and I'm perusing the flagrant Reddit because usually I find some good information there. I like to know
right,
the inner workings of the show, and I'm
right,
scrolling down, and I see this. It says Akaash doesn't follow Andrew anymore. So
right,
I'm like, no, that can't be true. So I went to Instagram and I checked
right.
and I realized he actually doesn't follow Andrew anymore. But even worse,
Wow.
forget Andrew. Nigga, he ain't follow me no more. Yo, Akaash, I apologize. I'm here to publicly apologize to Akaash. Akaash unfollowed me, so I hit Grand. I'm like, yo, Grand, did you see? Because Akaash followed all of us.
Right.
Akash followed me, Grand, everybody. Everybody got, the feds did a sweep. Akash is unfollowed us all.
All right.
Me,
Yeah.
Andrew, Grand.
Which is
Grand hit me was
wild.
like, even the wife was following me. She unfollowed my ass too. I'm like, oh. I want to sincerely put out an apology. I don't know if maybe I've made some jokes. I'm not a comedian, but I try to, Akash, I love you. I do.
Yeah, I'm not a comedian either.
People were discussing your situation. Trust me. All things given, I think everybody went a little light. We love you.
Right.
Come be friends with us again, man. I don't know. I don't know. Like, he disappeared from my favorite podcast. Now
Right.
he
Right.
doesn't follow me. I'm not gonna unfollow you. I'm
Right.
telling you now, Akash, I love you. I'm not gonna unfollow you. And anything people ever said about you is because they love you. I know it might not seem that way, but we love you.
Right.
Okay? And we're gonna keep following you till. Yes, we love you. Okay. I want to send prayers to my man Akash. I know he's been through it this year, and it's probably not the best situations, but
Yeah.
I don't think
Right.
people. I
That's
don't think
true.
people commenting on him ever meant ill will towards him. But I do want to. I realize that we all got unfollowed.
Right.
Yo, you don't even got to follow Andrew Schultz back. I think Schultz must have did something. But follow me back. Yo, Big Act.
Follow
Yeah,
me
Big.
back.
Everybody love Big Act. Come on. Let's get back on.
He unfollows DJ Academics, unfollows the
Right. And this is the part that actually is kind of heartbreaking when you step back because academics isn't being malicious at all. He's kind of confused. He respected what they built together, and his reaction to being unfollowed is, "I'm going to put out a public apology. I love you. I'm not going to unfollow you back." That's not the response of someone who was the enemy. That's the response of someone who knows that they didn't do anything wrong. And that's what research on social isolation confirms. All right. The people being pushed away are almost never the real threat. All right. There was a study from the Australian Institute of Health and Welfare, and they found that in relationships involving isolation as a control tactic, about 58 to 60% of victims reported being cut off from friends and family. And in most of these cases, the person doing the isolating framed it to their partner as protecting them from toxic people or fake friends. All right. So just think about that for a second. They're not your real friends. They were talking about you. They don't have your best interest at heart. Now, does that sound familiar? The people who get cut off, the people who got cut off, right? Andrew, Charlemagne, academics, everyone else on the show, none of them were doing anything other than commenting on a situation that was already public. But somehow they became the villains, and the person who created the situation in the first place got to play the victim. But let's continue.
Academics TV page that's ran by Grand Wizard. So he unfollows Grand Wizard. He unfollows Andrew Schultz, which makes sense because when they announced that Akaash will no longer be on the podcast, Akaash wasn't present. And like we all thought, I mean, even if Akaash is leaving the podcast to go ahead and do other things, you would think that Akaash would at the very least come back for the last episode,
exactly.
have like one more powwow and then leave. Him not coming back signaled to a lot of us, okay, things are not all the way correct or all the way right with this relationship. Now we're finding out, like he hates Andrew Schultz. Like he despises Andrew Schultz.
I don't know if he
we know this furthermore because
I don't know if he hates or anything like that. Despises, those are strong words, but there's definitely something going on behind the scenes.
The wife was on her TikTok and her Instagram throwing shots at Andrew Schultz and flagrant and confirming that Akaash and Andrew are no longer friends, which is disheartening, bruh.
It is.
Akaash and Andrew has been friends for what? The latter part of 20, going on 25 years?
Right.
And this woman coming in destroyed their friendship. They were friends before this woman.
Right.
Andrew was given Akaash opportunities before his wife stepped into the picture.
Right.
But now because of her, he's no longer friends with the only dude who loved him and gave him opportunities in this industry. In response to a fan asking Jasleen, is Akaash and Andrew Schultz still friends? She posted a clip from the Obsession movie. Now, I can't play the video.
I don't know if you guys have seen that movie. That movie is actually pretty good. Let me know in the comments if you did. It was much better than I thought it was going to be. So be careful what you wish for, people.
Because it's copyrighted, but if you know what this clip is, then you know in this scene the actress is yelling, no, for God's sakes, no, of course not.
Right.
So this is her confirming that of course Andrew Schultz and Akaash are no longer friends. And she's taking great pleasure into this because even like the clip she posted is like the actress is saying it in a very smug fashion. No, of course not. So this is confirmation that Akaash and Andrews are no longer friends. Now, she continues.
Right. Now, just take a second to think about every option available to her when that fan asked that question. She could have ignored it, said that's between them, said nothing, or any neutral response. Instead, she posted a smug movie clip. That's not someone who's sad about a friendship ending. That's someone who is satisfied. And that one post communicated more about the real dynamic of this situation than anything else over the past 6 months. Akaash lost a friendship that he and Andrew Schultz, they've confirmed that it goes back nearly 25 years. And again, there's research that consistently shows that long-term male friendships are uniquely difficult to rebuild once broken. Now, when I moved here to the US in 2014, I lost touch with my friends that I've known since high school, since the early days of, not even high school, but the early days of middle school or whatever. I was 12 years old at the time. And we've been rocking since day one. And when I moved here, I lost contact with them for about a year. And when we got the friendship back on, we regained contact with each other. It wasn't the same. It took some time to get back on track to where we were. I mean, it was still fun, hey, welcome back, we missed you, this, that, the other, but it still took some time. Everyone changes year after year, so, it took a little while to get things back on track.
And, like, she continued.
But also, right, the survey also, there's another survey, Center on American Life, and they found that about only 27% of men today report having 6 or more close friends. And that's down from 55% in 1990. Right? Men are already in a friendship recession, so burning a 25-year relationship doesn't just cost you one friend. For most men, it costs us our entire inner circle. And she confirmed the friendship is dead with a movie clip. And based on everything we know about how men form and keep friendships, that friendship is probably not going to come back anytime soon. But let's continue.
To make herself the victim in the situation, throwing sneak jabs and shots at Andrew Schultz as if they were
Right.
fake to her and Akaash, or as if like they were terrible friends to her and Akaash and they did them wrong by
Right.
simply
Right.
covering like her transgressions. Somebody asks how she dealt with everything. So she writes, I really try to remember that everything works out the way it's supposed to. Rejection is redirection. Of course, it is easier said than done when
Right.
people are digitally SA-ing me and continue to do so. Digitally SA-ing? I'm so, huh? How is that possible? How can somebody digitally SA you? So she considers digitally SA, which also makes sense, why Akaash has been brainwashed into ruining his friendship. She
Right,
probably told
right.
Akaash, man, your friend speaking about me sucking D
Right.
and me talking about how I was getting my pee
Which is something that she brought up herself. It's not that someone made this up. She exposed that.
popped at frat parties. Your friends talking about that is them digitally SAing me, and Akaash probably just
Right.
went along with this nonsense.
Right. Right.
So again, and she continues, but that experience made me and my husband so much stronger. It showed us who our real friends are and made us see fame more clearly.
Right.
Which obviously and clearly, if it made them see who their real friends really are, then apparently Andrew Schultz, Charlemagne, academics, and others are not their real friends according to them. Now,
Right.
she did an interview a couple of months ago where she revealed her true thoughts on like Flagrant and Andrew Schultz and them fan base.
All right.
So she will make a distinction between Akaash fan base and the podcast fan base, implying that the podcast fan base is filled with right-wingers and racists who don't want to see a powerful brown woman like herself give opinions.
Okay, how is she powerful? How is she powerful? I mean, she just got onto the internet, and the first thing she gets famous for is disrespecting her husband. Like, how is that powerful?
Which is why Akaash ultimately left the podcast.
So
Right.
I felt like we had a really good support system. Like if God forbid we did ever get into disagreements. And I remember her saying though in Paris, she was like, my biggest fear is getting canceled. And I remember telling her, I was like, I just want to let you know, like I know the periphery of Akash's fan base, which is, I will say,
Right.
more of the podcast fan base. And I know a lot of people during like our controversy were saying like, oh, it's because of his fans. It's because of his fans. Like his comedy fans are
Right.
not like that. It's more the podcast fan base.
Is it just me, or did do you guys have you guys realized that whenever you see women on podcasts, they put their feet up? Like, I don't know what that is, what that's about. But anyway, I'm a faceless channel, and I could have my feet up right now, and you don't know.
That I don't think really resonate with him because a lot of them are like really racist and right wing. I think like those of them are more like that. But yeah, anyways, I said like those peripheral fans, like they might come at us just because we're brown girls being opinionated and they don't
Right.
like opinionated women.
This is so tough for me because I understand what she's saying. I understand. A portion of that Andrew Schultz flagrant
Right.
fan base,
Right.
they love Trump, they love MAGA, but a large percentage of them did give
Right.
him backlash for sitting down with Trump. So, like, I don't think the entire fan base is MAGA. I think a large percentage of it is
Exactly.
MAGA.
Now, I'll say this because I don't want to dismiss it completely. Now, are there people on the internet who use this situation as cover to say genuinely racist and misogynistic things? Yes, absolutely. That happens with every viral controversy. The internet always has a faction of that takes things too far. But here's the thing, the core of the criticism wasn't about race or gender, and there's actually a psychological concept that explains what's happening when someone reframes behavior-based criticism as identity-based attacks. It's called at- attribution bias, specifically the tendency to attribute negative feedback to external factors like prejudice rather than the actual behavior that caused the feedback. Right? There's research that shows that when someone faces backlash for a specific action, the least psychologically threatening response is to reframe the criticism as being about who you are rather than what you did, because that way you never have to change anything, which is exactly what we're watching here. The critique was your wife publicly embarrassed you and damaged your career. The reframe became they're racist and they hate opinionated brown women. Those are not the same thing. And conflating them is a way of making sure you never have to reckon with the first one. Right? Flacco said it right? This is beyond politics. People didn't go after her because of who she is. They went after her because of what she did. And that's a completely different conversation. So let's continue.
And they probably made their feelings clear, but this is beyond politics, man.
Yeah, it is.
I do think this is beyond. Now, she's not wrong about the fan base itself, but this situation particularly is beyond politics. People called you out because you was doing something foul.
Right, exactly.
Foul. And now they really hate you because you're responsible for one of their favorite podcasters no longer
Attribution
being on their
bias.
favorite podcast. And now the dynamic has changed, and now they got to figure out how to put it together. But y'all let me know in the comment section, what do you guys think about this, man? Do y'all believe that Akaash did the right thing by leaving?
All right.
Let me know, okay? If you're still watching this video and you want to watch another.
All right, I'll just go ahead and close off the video there. There's not much else. So here's where I land on all of this. Right, Akaash Singh built something real. 15 years of consistent work, friendships that came before the fame, a platform that millions of people tuned into every single week, right? Which of course helped his stand-up career, right? And so that's not nothing. That's almost everything in the entertainment industry. And now, because of 6 months of decisions he either made or allowed to be made for him, most of that is gone. And the research doesn't lie about what happens next. Studies show that men who lose their core social networks after marriage are significantly more likely to experience anxiety, depression, and long term loneliness, especially when their partner becomes their only source of emotional support. And that's not me being dramatic. That's just what the data says. And again, if you guys want me to just provide the links to these studies that I've read, by all means, let me know in the comment section. Right? But the silver lining is talent doesn't disappear. Akash is still funny, he's still capable, but without the platform, without the consistent visibility, without the friendships that have kept him grounded, the path back is probably going to be a long one. And while he's figuring that out, she's on TikTok posting movie clips. So, I don't know, drop a comment. Do you think Akash can actually come back from this one? Or is it just the new norm for him? All right, I'll see you guys in the next one.